All right, here we go again. Arizona in the news. There's a charter school there called Heritage Academy, and they've been using some questionable books by a guy named Cleon Skousen. They say he's a controversial anti-communist. Now, I got news for you. Being anti-communist these days is not that controversial. He's controversial for other reasons. Two of the books that they are assigning to kids as textbooks are called The 5,000-Year Leap and The Making of America. Okay, now there's a couple problems with these books. First of which is that they push out the idea of a Christian nation. And in fact, they've been sued by the Americans United for separation of church and state for using these textbooks. And a person from that organization says they push Christian nation propaganda and other religious teachings on impressionable young students. Another problem with the books is that they're basically textbooks for the Tea Party as well. Glenn Beck touted the 5,000-Year Leap, according to Raw Story, as a divinely inspired interpretation of early American history. Now, I love that because I'm pretty sure that history isn't supposed to be divinely inspired. See, you might be mixing up your topics there when you talk about that. California-based National Tea Party Federation spokesperson says the 5,000-Year Leap is a handbook of Tea Party ideals. Early on in the movement, people would carry it around and talk about it. So now they're teaching that to the kids in Arizona as if it's the gospel, as if it's actually true, this rewriting of history. All right, now, so there's the issue of religion intermingling there. This guy is clearly, rabid right-winger, and he's biased some of the parts of the book. But where's the racism? Well, you're about to see it, and I think anybody that isn't named Anthony Cumia could see this. Okay, so Garrett Epps explains that there's a long description of slavery in the book, that the state of slavery was beneficial to African Americans, and that Southern racism was caused by the intrusion of Northern abolitionists and advocates of equality for the freed slaves. And he quotes at length from an essay from Fred Albert Shannon, who makes that point. Okay, let's think this through. The Southerners were not racist, even though they had slavery, until the abolitionists from the North came in and complained about slavery, and that turned the Southerners into racists. If it wasn't for that, the Northerners complaining about slavery, the Southerners would have never been racist in the first place. This isn't a textbook for kids. I don't understand how anybody could read that and be like, nailed it, okay? He's not done yet. In The Making of America, Skousen included an essay by Fred Albert Shannon in which he argued that if black children ran naked, it was generally from choice. And when the white boys had to put on shoes and go away to school, they were likely to envy the freedom of their colored playmates. That's in the frickin' textbook. So, this is literally the ministry of truth. Freedom is slavery. No. The slaves were freer than the white kids because by denying them an education, we allowed them to run in the fields while they were picking our cotton for us and having to be our slaves, but they didn't have to wear shoes. You see, slavery is freedom. Freedom is slavery. We already told you as conservatives that war is peace, right? We already told you that ignorance is strength. Let's teach that ignorance at an amped up level.